Hello, Kim. Welcome to the stream. Can you hear us? Well, let's just
Loud and
test our
clear.
audio.
Cheers.
Hi, Kim.
Very good. Hello, Kim. My name is Tim, by the way. Um, uh, Richard, is your audio working?
My audio is fine.
Oh no. Oh, okay. And because we have who's Richard F who joined us on the stream. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out that later. By the way, so we've got you're joining my live stream. I've been doing this show for about 4 years, soon to be, and for the past 4 years, we get together and we talk about wristwatches. So we got all kinds of crazy characters on here. To the right of you, Kim, we got Mike Lewis. He was just sharing with us his car collection, and he's a huge watch collector as well. We got Thomas Burnett below me. Thomas, he's one of the biggest contributors in the chat towards wristwatches. Manny is a good friend from Miami. And we got
Manny's
Kojak.
dark. We can hardly see him.
Yeah, it's a little bit dark there. Manny,
Yeah, I know. I can put it brighter. Let me see. Hold on.
turn up the light.
There we go. Is that better?
There you go.
There we go. Kojak over here. He's from London, and he's our in-house cocktail mixer. Every Sunday, by the way, we get together and we mix cocktails on the live stream and kind of just talk watches, drink cocktails. And right below me, that's our in-house comedian, Randy Katz, actually Daniel Katz. And he's gonna put on some jokes for us later tonight.
No, stop! Don't do that.
It's a joke. So
Yeah. But every once in a while, I'll wing something here.
Yeah, here or there.
Yeah.
And Kim, Kim, maybe you could introduce yourself to my viewers and the panelists over here. How you like to be described? I already kind of told my viewers a little bit about you, about your YouTube channel, your Instagram account, and about your website. I'm actually going to drop the links to all your socials in the chat so people can go and follow you.
Well, in short, I photograph Formula One, but that's not the be-all and end-all of it. I also do YouTube videos, track. I also do travel videos because I go to 24 races a year and they're in 21 different countries. So I do a lot of travel, and people love to see how I travel, where I go, which airlines I use, hotels I stay at. And I do a number of different things on my Instagram channel that, apart from post photos of cars and drivers. I will do men of the paddock, women of the paddock. This is after every weekend. I'll take 10 images, 10 men, 10 women, 10 handbags, 10 pairs of shoes, and 10 watches. And that is one of my most popular posts each week, the watches of the paddock, because with Formula One, as you probably know, it is probably the wealthiest sport in the world. And we see a lot of wealth and crazy stuff on the wrists of people who attend F1 races. So it's a real festival of timepieces.
Awesome.
That's right. And wristwatches and F1, they kind of go hand in hand. In fact, Rolex was one of the biggest sponsors of F1 until they pulled out. Actually, at
They
the
didn't
end
pull
of
out. They were kicked out.
they were kicked out.
Wow.
LVMH unseated them, took the number one, the premier spot. I guess they just outbid them. They paid such insane amount of money, right? I think it was $100 million contract, right?
150 million.
150.
Yeah.
It's
But
outrageous.
that's for a lot of things. That's for the watches. So they're the timekeeper now, but they're also the champagne sponsor, and they would have a lot mixed up in it. They've got so many different brands and fashion houses that it just made a lot of sense. And that's the way the sport has looked for the last few years. They want to go very upmarket, and they couldn't probably get a better mob than LVMH to come on board with them.
Yeah, LVMH. Now, what do you think of LVMH's push to try and get into the wristwatch space. They've been making a lot of moves, and I don't know if you heard about it.
I know that they own Tag, and they're going to be the predominant watch sponsor. There is each team, well, not each team, a number of teams have watch sponsors. LVMH's arrangement, though, with Tag is that they're going to sponsor Formula One, as Rolex did. But Rolex, with their sub-brand Tudor, obviously sponsors VCarb, Racing Bulls. And then you've got all the other, well, not all the teams. I think there's seven have watch sponsors. And it's a very valuable sponsorship. And you might have seen Lewis Hamilton 2 days ago with that Richard Mille, that 6702.
That's right.
Right.
And that was marvelous exposure. And we knew he was going to be wearing that watch. And there's probably little doubt that he will do a collaboration as he did with IWC, but with Richard Mille. It's just smart marketing that they do something with him. He had obviously the number 44 of his 44 that they did with IWC. And I imagine he'll get the 44th version of whatever they do with this mob.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. What is watch collecting hobby like behind the scenes? Like, do people talk about watches when you're there on the track behind the scenes,
Oh, yeah.
talking to people? Yeah, what do they talk about in the watch space there?
Well, I can tell you, Lando is a big collector. Rolex, he loves them. A lot of the drivers, obviously, well, the drivers that are contracted with sponsors wear what they have to the track. And I can tell you that a few drivers in the past have been very unhappy with the crap that they've had to wear. Well, when I say crap, these blokes have got plenty of money and they would wear some very high-profile timepieces, and then they're forced to roll up in lesser brands. And I won't say which brands they figure as lesser.
We know what you're talking about, Kit. We know what you're alluding to.
There are a couple that have come and gone very quickly in Formula One. And one with Williams. No, I'll stand corrected here, but I'm pretty sure one of the Williams watch sponsors didn't pay. So they got a list promotion and then did not pay. If it's not Williams, it's Haas. But that's disappointing for them. But yeah, look, it's a great place to find great watches. I've seen Neymar's Bejeweled. Can't remember what that was. In fact, I can find it here in a second, because I use a program called Lightroom. So everything I do is catalogued. I've just got to change programs here, but each week I will see the most amazing watches. Or some weeks, actually, to be honest, I have to struggle to find good stuff, and it becomes a last-minute panic on a Sunday. Shivers, I've only got 2 watches out of 10, and I just got to run upstairs to the Paddock Club and find some of the wealthier suites, and then just wander in and take shots of people's watches. Sometimes I ask them, sometimes I just take them from a distance. I did ask Ibrahimovic, the European footballer. I asked him if I could take a shot of his. And he said, no, and he didn't want it shot, but I'd already taken a shot. It wasn't great. I asked Sylvester Stallone last year. He was at a race, and I said, what watch are you wearing? He gladly rolled his sleeve up, as did Jay Balvin. You might know of Jay Balvin. He had that. Let me just find this, and I'll see which watch he had on.
Cristiano Ronaldo's been there a couple of times.
Yeah, I've never seen Christian, but we do see some crazy stuff. But then on the other hand, I'll sometimes put in really nice looking cheap watches, whether it be a Casio. Do you recognize this? What is this?
Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, it kind of looks like Jacob & Co. Astronomia.
Yeah. Right? That was interesting.
That's like a planetarium. It's got the entire solar system connected to the time.
It's
we don't talk about Jacob & Co. here.
No, we got Magic City.
The controversy.
Jacob & Co.
I know a bit about watches, but it's mainly Rolex that I know, and I've got a Patek and a few others. In fact, I've got a few on here today.
Oh, there you go.
Very nice. I've got these as well.
Oh my God!
All right, now we're talking.
So there we go.
Okay. Nice.
Given your watch people.
Yeah,
Right.
tell us about
And
your
so,
watches. Let's see. We got Explorer 2. How did you get this
Explorer 2.
one? That's a great watch.
I think I bought that one secondhand many years ago. This I got from
Yeah.
a dealer the other day.
Yachtmaster
Yeah,
Radius.
Yamaha. Nice.
Ooh.
With the rhodium.
41.
Yeah, nice.
Sorry about the light. Now, I really love this watch, the Daylight, the Sylvester Stallone Daylight, but
Yeah.
it's not
He was
ever
the one
gone
that
up
put them
in
on the
value.
map.
Yeah, yeah. I like this one.
Oh,
The
TIE Pilot.
Daytona.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
With the black dial.
No, this one here is the black dial. I'll take that off in a sec. I've got a white Zenith movement Daytona.
Nice.
Very nice. Oh,
Oh,
you're a
yeah.
huge Daytona fan. Well, Daytona is a big watch in racing, right? Named
one.
after a race. So you got this one. That's also a black dial with a black ceramic bezel.
Yeah, yeah. I would have
So you
rather
got
the white, but I'd
You
take
got
the
3
black.
Daytonas so far.
Yeah,
IWC, yeah.
The reliable IWC.
Yeah.
Is that which one is that?
That was
IWC
Big
again?
Pilot.
Big
Pilot.
Pilot.
Big
Yeah,
Pilot.
Big Pilot.
Yeah.
47.
With
Is that
the-
47? It's a big
Yeah,
chunky
and I don't
monster.
think that's
that's-
gone up in value.
That's the their big movement. That's their powerful movement in that
8
one.
days
Yeah.
power reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John Mayer also kind of pushed them. He almost put them on the map as well, I think, IWC. Because he, at one point, he did like a collection review and he had 8 or 10 of those different versions.
yeah.
Hey,
Look,
Kim-
it's easy when you're John Mayer and you can get all that stuff because Rolex.
How do you-
Anyone wants him.
Well, yeah. He's also investor in like Hodinkee, so he's really involved. He's got certain interests for certain watches to go up. But how do you make your wristwatch purchase decisions? You got 3 Daytonas there. How did you find out about Daytonas, and why you picked those?
It was the late 90s, and I was doing pretty well in my business. And then I read a GQ article, I think, about Rolex Daytonas being the new hard-to-get watch. And I was walking down Hay Street Mall in Perth, our main street. I walked past the Rolex dealer, and I see this Daytona in there. It turned out it was a gold or platinum thing. And I walked in, I said, "How much is that?" And he goes, "Oh, that's many, many thousands." Ah, okay, thanks. What were you after? Oh, I was after a stainless Daytona. But anyway, thanks. Just hang on a sec. He goes out the back,
Oh,
and he comes back and he says, "This?" I said, "Yeah, why have you got
wow.
that?" He said, "The guy hasn't picked it up. Do you want it?"
Yeah.
So I said, "Hang on." So I rang my wife. I said, "They've got this watch. It's your money, US, about $4,900. Shall I buy it?" She said, "Yeah, why not?" So I bought it. Pretty good investment.
It is,
Nice.
yeah.
Something like that.
Now
Understanding
that
life.
watch has quadrupled in its value,
Yeah,
even in
And
worn
then some.
condition. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then some. And during 2022, they were at the highest price ever. They come down a little bit now, but they're still the Daytonas are. But I don't. You don't seem like a guy who's buying watches for investment value alone,
No,
because of just
no.
the way the way you play with them. You picked up a handful of wristwatches. Here's 3 Daytona.
Yeah, look, I actually did a video on my watches. If you go to my YouTube channel and search
Yeah.
watches, and I actually tipped the watches out on a table at the start of the video. Wow, all these aficionados go, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Well, I don't care. I'm never going to sell them, and they work fine being tipped for
Yeah.
a few centimeters. But look, that probably gives you an idea of what I've got.
Wow.
I got quite a few.
Very cool.
And there's a few more since I took
Wow.
that picture.
Amazing.
Yeah, I
Here we
love them.
go.
I'm never going to sell them. My kids will sell them at some point, but hopefully that's not for many, many years. Okay, well, there you
Kim.
found it. Well done to you.
Look
You are
at that.
quick.
Oh yeah, he's a professional. Do you know?
Yeah.
This is what he
Yeah.
did.
Pull it up. Yeah, it's exactly. I'm a professional. Pull
Pull
it
it up,
up.
Timmy.
Pull it up.
A lot of people
Look at
say, I say, I don't often wear the, occasionally I'll take one to a race, but
Mm.
the thing is, that watch, any metal watch on a laptop just scratches both. And that's what I do. Most of the time my hands are on a laptop. And then of course, when you're photographing around the track, there's often photo windows which are metal and you're bashing it up against that. So it's not terribly smart to be taking them there. And then there's races like Mexico and Brazil where we're just told, do not wear anything on your wrist. Don't put
Wow.
anything on there that'll attract attention. So
At all.
you take notice of that, and you yeah, I just don't take watches to those races.
Right.
Wow. There you
Kim,
go, guys. Some actual advice, you know, because you have to
Kim,
wear
could I
your
a- could I
watch
could
smartly.
I
Yeah,
ask?
yeah. Kojak, go ahead.
Yeah, Kim, thanks very much for joining us on the stream. I'm a huge fan of the work that you do, and I love
Pleasure.
your channel as well. It's great. You know, did are you an F1 fan before you became a photographer, or did it, you know, or which way around did it happen? And or have you just come to love Formula One and everything that is it because you've got no choice?
I've been to a few races. I had been to races before. I liked it. I didn't love it, but it was just that time when I went to Abu Dhabi at the end of 2016, paid with Red Bull, sat down in the garage or stood in the garage, had the headphones on, listening to Daniel talking to the team, and it was all very idyllic and lovely. And I thought, oh, I'd like to photograph this sport. And I thought maybe I'll do a year. I didn't really know what I would do. I thought I could do something for the sport, and that's what I explained to the FIA when I applied for accreditation, and they surprisingly said yes. And now 7 seasons in, it's just I'm addicted. I'm not. Look, I love the racing, yes, but we don't get to see much of the racing. We see cars go past the 100-meter stretch that we can look at. So we have no idea really during a race what's going on. We can see the screens sometimes. Sometimes we get audio through commentary, but most of the time we're oblivious to what's going on. You see a lot more when you're watching at home, but I just love the whole thrill of the sport being the elite, that these guys are so popular, and I get to photograph them every week. And there's now a thing, you know, how far can I push the social side of what I'm doing? Like I've got
Yes.
1.6 million followers across 3 platforms. And
Yes.
and we had a meeting the other day in my office. My general manager in Perth is a female, and Kiralee said, right, here we go. We've got 400,000 on YouTube now. What do we have to do to get to 2 million? I thought, far out. I'm thinking million. She's completely
Yes.
gone over. She's not even looked at a million. We're talking 2 million. And so that very much
Yes.
instantly changed our focus. And we have gone crazy in the last month since we had that meeting with content and plans for this year. And it works. You know, we're growing at a quicker rate. We're double what we did last year in January this year. So it's just a matter of us ramping it up, maximizing everything we do. And you can't do it all yourself. If you're going to get to 2 million followers, it won't be one person. So there's a good 3 of us working full time on it, and a few other guys in my organization that work on Messages on Hold, which is the main business of mine at the moment. But maybe in 4 years' time, this will eclipse it. Who knows?
That's
Incredible.
And
Yeah, because as you may not know this, but this channel is kind of a one-man job behind the scenes, but very many contributors, panelists, people who come on and help in discussions. So it's incredible to see how well you're doing. And you said you have a team, so it's like 3 people. You have how does this work? Do you have some person coming up with content, an editor, I would assume, and
Yeah. If you go
how-
back, what are we, 25? From 2019 to 2022, except for
yes,
2020 because that was a COVID year and we couldn't travel.
Mhm.
I edited every video, and they were a good 6 to 8 hours per video editing, and
yes,
I would do 2.5 videos a week, and it killed me. But you got to do it
yes,
to get to a point now where I can afford an editor. And now I
yes,
have a full-time editor who will work at any hour of the day, and he's far better at doing that than I ever was. And it means now that I can go and cold record a video here in my studio. Like this is this is
yes.
where I work. So I'm sitting in front
See?
of where I do all of my videos,
cool.
and I can just send him the cold files, and
Yes.
within sometimes 3 hours, if it's a really time sensitive thing we want to put up, I can get a product back. And then my son, Jace, who also photographs a number of races with me, will upload that to YouTube with another guy that will just do thumbnails for us. But he's not full time in terms of Formula One. But it means that I can do far more content. And I think at one stage we were doing 5.5 videos a week there in the middle of the season. And that just sends things through the roof. So that's what we have to do. Maybe we get to a video a day in the season. I don't know. It's
Right.
possible.
Incredible.
Could kill
Incredible.
me.
Yes, with if you had somebody coming up with ideas or structured content, like what you said about the man the man of the paddock, right? The
Mhm.
man of the paddock, right? That's a kind of content that's repeatable, right? You could
Yep.
do, if you had somebody helping you out, bringing the content, so you could just react to it, you could do 2 of those, 3 of those a week. But
Well,
it's important for you to do your main job, also the photography. That's where you get your footage to then use, right? How do you balance
well,
those?
Well, where the shoes, the men, the watches, and all that came from was when we wait for drivers to arrive, and they will come in over sometimes 4 hours. There's a lot of
Mhm.
standing around. So
Right.
at one point I thought, oh, I'll just take some photos of watches, and I didn't even have to move really. I just had
Yeah.
people walking past, and the women obviously they walk past you, and the men walk past you. It's just a matter of using that downtime to the best of my advantage. And then it's now at a situation where a lot of people come to me and say, oh, how do I get on Men of the Paddock? Or can I be in Women of the Paddock?
Yes.
So you know you're doing well when you
Yes.
get that sort of feedback. And
Right.
to be brutally honest, it does buy you a lot of favour. And there are
Mm.
times when I've thought, yeah, I'll put you in Women of the Paddock because maybe you're doing something for a team and I need access to whatever you do. And other times they're just there purely on merit. So, and when I say merit, that they're dressed in something amazing or they look amazing or they're a celebrity or that sort of thing. But it's good because a lot of people think that what I'm doing there is an F1 thing. It's not. I'm a freelancer. I don't get paid by F1, not directly anyway. So I get to do what I want, and then you get people like watch brands that come to me and say, "Oh, we're doing a launch. We've got this new watch. Can you
Yeah.
help us?" And I say, "Yeah," and that'll be a commercial deal there of some sort. And then this year, what I want to do with the clothing side of things is a lot of these, most teams have a clothing sponsor. So if I take Alpine, let's look at Beluti. What'll happen is
Right.
Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan will walk in and they'll be wearing on Thursday typically a Beluti outfit. And people go, oh, that's beautiful. But we got no idea how to buy it. Whereas, and my post might get 10,000 likes, I'm going to
Right.
this year have links. I like this outfit, click here to buy it. So
Right.
Beluti hopefully sees the
Mm.
value in this and says, oh, okay, here's an order page. Here's the link. Kim, when you post these pictures, it doesn't cost them anything. If they don't sell one item, it's cost them nothing. But
Right.
people will go, yeah, I want that. I'll click on that. Thanks, I'll buy it. And that's where marketing's coming. They pay these guys a lot of money to wear their clothing in, and then they're not maximizing it with sales. They're
Right.
missing out on, because people for that moment want to buy it. But in an hour's time, the plumbing's broken in their house, or they've got to go and pick the kids up. They've forgotten about the Beluti outfit.
Right.
Yeah. So you get an affiliate link.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to be able to, but they also have to tell us what they're wearing each day. So here's the outfits today, if they want to maximize the sales.
Right.
But it's incredible also because you're able to do this just from this tell us, how does this photography permit works with F1? Because just doing this photography, it opens up so many possibilities in social media.
Yeah, well, you've got to be accredited. So every
Yes.
photographer that wants to come and work commercially has to have an
Mhm.
accreditation. And you apply to the FIA and they say yes or no. And it just depends on what their criteria is at the time when When I started in 2017, it was obviously different than it is now. So once
Yes.
you get your accreditation, as long as you play by the rules and you're doing well for the sport, and like my images are seen by tens of millions every single week through my distribution network. So I'd like to think that I'm doing a pretty good job for them, and I'm not charging them a cent. But yeah, I'm also thinking with the watch side of things, IWC should
Yes.
be, when George and Kimmy walk in, I should be able to say, oh, and buy that watch there. And they should also be doing an affiliate link, because a lot with sponsors, I had a great chat with a company called Bitdefender, who said that they realised that in sports sponsorship, the first year is, oh, this is great. We've got free champagne, and we're down in the box here,
Right.
rubbing shoulders with, oh, this is fantastic. And the second year is, what the hell are we doing? They just, we've got over the glory part. Now it's the hard part. And then the third year, it's right. Now we have to make some sales from this. And it's very important that these sponsors get over that first year excitement and get straight into the business of selling stuff, because that's why they're spending this money.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kim, what is your camera brand of choice?
Canon. I use, in fact, I've just finished my 2025 photo kit video. It'll be going up in the next 10 days on my YouTube channel, but it's pretty much all Canon, including this lens. I don't know if any of you are photographers of note, but this is a lens that's as old as me. I was born in
wow.
61, and I've just
Wow.
bought this recently for US about 3K. And it is a phenomenal lens. It's f.95. It's called the Dream Lens, and I've been looking for one for a long time, hard to find, and this is in perfect condition, so I'll be using that this year. It's tricky, it's manual focus, but it gives a look like none other.
This is for the close-up photography, or
No, this is 50
that
mil, so it's
50 mil? It's quite short.
yeah,
Oh,
but
it's for the paddock, kind of in the background, not photographing the cars.
no, you wouldn't use it for cars because it's
Yeah.
manual focus. And if you use it at
Yeah.
f.95, which is probably the lowest, and it's designed to be used in very low light, but it puts a dreamy look on the subject.
Mm.
It's not super sharp at its lowest f-stop, but it is quite special to look at. And that's something that I wheel out maybe for an hour each weekend and just try and find a shot or two. Ideally, something that's stationary, because to get focus, because to give you an idea, like I might focus on the frame of my glasses, but my pupil might be out of focus. My ear will
Oh.
certainly be out of focus. It's got
Oh,
a
wow.
very small focal plane at f.95, and it's tricky to work with. Typically, I'll get it roughly right, and then I'll just keep my finger on the shutter, and I'll move backwards and forwards a little bit, knowing that one of them will be sharp.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
Very cool.
So
But
we
going
can
through those
expect.
pictures there,
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
those pictures, just stop there. That one there with the rear of the car with the light on, that's
Yep.
taken
Yeah.
with, I'm pretty sure that's taken with an f.95 lens, a cheaper one.
That's
I
incredible picture.
think that is anyway. I can't see it.
Let's see. Can I zoom it in a little bit? There we can see it. Wow.
Yeah, if the
bokeh
background's
on
really
that.
soft.
Yeah. Really nice
Now that
bokeh
lens
there.
was given to me by a Bahraini prince who loved my work, and I was out at a hotel with the driver's stay, and he was having lunch, I think, and one of the guys, the concierge, said, "Oh, there's a local guy here who wants to have a chat with you." I said, "Oh, okay, right." So I have a chat with him, and he says, "Oh, I've got this 0.95 lens." I go, "What? I've got this f.95 lens. Well, tell me about it." So I'll bring it in tomorrow. So he brings it in. He says, "Here, you can have it." I said, "Oh, I'd love to take some shots with it." "No, it's yours." What?
What?
You have it. I was happy for the weekend. No, it's yours. So that got me
Wow.
started. But that was made by a Japanese guy, MS Optics, and it's probably about a fifth the price of this one. Not quite as good a quality, a little bit smaller, but I'm very happy to have this one.
Wow. So and you use that with an R5 or what Canon?
Well, that was an R3,
R1.
but you can use it on R5 or R1s as I've got now.
Oh, wow. Right. And do you use like a flash with this?
No flash. No
No
flash.
flash. How
No,
long have you been? How long have you been photographing before getting the licensing with F1?
Well, I've always had a camera, and it was
Mhm.
when I moved up here to Lancelin, which is north of Perth, small country
Mm.
town, going back 2012, I think it was. No, maybe in 2008. I can't remember anyway. I come up to this small town every weekend, and I'm thinking I've got nothing to do, so I'll go and take photos and start a Facebook page for the town Lancelin. So that got me excited about photography, and I really went crazy with it then. Then I decided, well, my wife decided we should do a safari, so we went across there and did a safari for 2 weeks, and I loved it and took my camera gear, got some great shots, came back, bought some better camera gear, went back about 8 weeks later, and in the end we did 26 weeks in Africa over 2.5 years. I did a book, which National Geographic picked up for Germany, and that probably got me noticed by Formula One. So yeah, it's bizarre how things work. It's not like it was a
Right.
long-term plan to do 30, 40 years in my business and then start wildlife photography and then F1. That was no plan.
Right.
Wow, this just came about because you the spur of the moment. And it's incredible that in the modern world we can do this, like to
Yep.
make a living from doing photography and incredible photography at that. Dr. Bob's Nightmare, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Amazing guest, Tim. Internal combustion rules. There we go. What's well, and how is your watch hobby followed your photography journey? Has because I find that I'm a photographer a little bit myself. I mean, that's why we're doing these live streams, because of my love for photography and this type of medium. So how do and obviously I do a show talking about wristwatches. And how did your hobby, uh, for watches and photography evolved over these years?
The watches, I said my first one was a Tag Heuer.
Let's see
Um,
it. Let's see some more of those watches. Yeah, Tag Heuer, you said. Yeah,
my Tag.
tell us about
Okay.
your journey.
Yeah.
How did your watch journey evolve? What did you get first, and then how kind of which watches you added and why?
Right. Okay. So let's go into this one. Oh,
Mm.
that won't do
I've
that.
just got to drop out, Tim. So,
Oh,
Kim, brilliant
Permission
stories.
granted.
I'll be tuning in, and great to see you, Manny. Great to see Kojak. Great to see Daniel, and thank you, Maldives, for the watch. Brilliant stuff. And
Thomas, have a
Nice
good
to
night.
see
If
you,
you have a
Thomas.
question before leaving for Kim, maybe it would be better if you have a chance.
no, I'll be
No?
listening.
Okay.
I'll be listening in. So
All right. Okay.
it's half 1 in the morning in the UK. So I'll go work
Gotcha.
tomorrow. So
Gotcha.
We got people around the planet
Good night,
watching.
Thomas.
Good
take
night,
care,
Ciao.
Thomas.
everyone. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Okay. Sorry. Let's see
Oh,
that
well,
image.
let me show you this. That Tag
Yes.
Heuer in the middle there, that was my first watch, which I was influenced by Formula One, no doubt. And then I probably would have got this Rolex in the middle. What is that, a Coke?
That looks like a Coke or maybe a
Yeah.
Pepsi. Let's see. Maybe
No,
I
it's
can
not a
pull up that
Pepsi. I
image.
want the Pepsi.
Oh,
And then I bought a couple of cheap Hamiltons. And then I probably got that Rolex. Oh, no, you know what? This is interesting. This was my very first watch. The top near my eye there, that top one
top
is a
left.
Seiko. My grandmother bought that for me when I was about 12. Cost her
There we go.
$20. I've still got it. It still works. So what is that? That's a 50-year-old watch, which I've just had the glass replaced on. Oh, you've got my
Mhm.
pictures there. That's great. It's
Here we
better
go.
quality for
I'll make
you.
it full screen. That way we'll be able
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
look at the
but
full journey here.
yeah,
Yeah. Kim, it's cool that you have that S bracelet Tag Heuer two-tone.
yeah,
That was my
yeah.
first watch, but the chrono with the white dial.
Okay, well, I love the look of that thing, and I haven't worn it in years. I like the black. I like Panerai as a watch. They never do anything
Mm.
for me financially, but as we agree, if you're never going to sell them, it doesn't matter what they're worth. but I don't find that to be terribly, this thing here is not terribly comfortable to wear, and the blackface one has also got a leather band, which I rarely wear.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I got rid of mine. It was a nice piece, though.
Yeah.
One of the wire, traditional reiteration of the wire, the 1940s wire lugs.
Oh,
And but
Yeah,
it was 45, too big for me, and it's whatever. Looked nice.
Probably my wife's Rolex is one of my favorite watches. She has that purpley aubergine colored face with the diamonds around the edge, and it's glorious. And it was funny because there's a dealer here in Perth, Kennedy's, who I get on very well with, and I can't remember where I met Marie, but we chatted for a long time in the store, and then at some point I get this text message, would Tonya like this? And we're sitting at dinner at home, and I said, do you want that? And she goes, yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, okay, we'll take that. I'll come and get it tomorrow. So we came in, had a chat, and bought the thing, and it was beautiful. And then it was in 2021, and I was in Baku, and I was on the Thursday of that race, and I was out on track, and I get this text message with a picture of this watch, which is the Blackface Daytona, and the message is, want this, question mark. Yeah, I'll have that. So I got my sons to come and pick that up. And and in fact, another one, and I'm probably overly invested in Rolex, but my youngest son was doing his end of year schooling, and whatever it's ATR, or there's a number. Anyway, my wife said, look, if you get 90 or more, we'll get you a Rolex. And I said, do you really want to do that? Yeah, well, let's see how he goes. Anyway, he didn't study very hard until the last month or so. And then we're at the races one day after he'd done his exams, and he gets the message come through, and he goes, and he starts jumping around. He's got 90.05, not 90.5, 90.05, which is the closest mark to 90. So he got himself a Blackface GMT. And very luckily, I had a client of mine I was doing some work for in Sydney, and they're an authorised dealer, and he said, yeah, look, it might be a while, but I'll put you on the list. And about 2 months later, I got it. So he's very lucky. He loves it.
wow.
Yeah.
That would blackface GMT. That would be like the Batman, or
Hang on, no,
the
not
black,
GMT.
black.
What's the other one? No, what's the GMT?
Oh, Explorer 2,
No, keep going. What
GMT,
is it?
Daytona, maybe Daytona.
No, not a Daytona. It's
Submariner,
a plain
Submariner, the Submariner in the middle.
Submariner.
Oh yeah, okay. Wow, that's great. No date.
No date.
Incredible. That's such a great watch. That was actually my first watch. I had one with a date. I still have it, but it's such a great, clean, everyday watch. Hard to go down to. It really makes you understand the quality of watches when you try that on, because if you had the Submariner and like an Omega, and you compare them like side by side in your hands, somehow, I mean, Rolex, they just do it somehow better. You can feel the quality. What about your Patek, the 5056 with the gray dial? How did you get that?
I was in Singapore.
The annual calendar.
Yeah, that's the white gold, isn't it?
Yes, right. Yep, white gold, gray dial. This is
I never wear it. I love the watch, but the clasp, the band is so flimsy that I think at any stage that would be very easy to lift off my wrist if I didn't just have it fall off. It's nothing like the clasp on a Rolex or some of my other watches.
You can get it changed. They also sell pin buckles. You can get it put on the pin buckle. That could be like a way to enjoy that watch. It's a lot easier to put it on, and you don't even have to set the time and date. It doesn't really matter what's on
this is an interesting thing. When I do my watches of the Patek posts, when I've got enough time, I go through and I say how many watches are on the right time and the date, and normally half of them are on the wrong time. Hardly any of them are on the right date, and you just think, they've pulled them out somewhere and they've slapped them on their wrist. They're just out going out to show off, but they're not using it to tell the time.
No.
There you go.
If you know anything about Tim, he doesn't set the time on his watch
Hey.
either, Kim. So
Not until I have to. I just kind of I like it because I do watches live stream. I don't really need to know what time it is. It's on my phone. But if I had like a job, if I was an actual F1 racer, if that was my main job, then I would set the time on my watches.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst. None of the drivers ever have the right time unless
It's
their
probably
promotional
because
staff set them.
unless the professional stuff sets it for them. But maybe look, I think maybe the drivers that really love the hobby, or they probably set it, or maybe it's in reverse. I think it's just like
Well,
wearing them because it's a big thing on Instagram. Who has the best watch or the most expensive watch or
Yep.
the best watch deal collab, right? That's a big thing between the drivers. Securing that sponsorship.
Roman Grosjean would wear a watch while he raced. He would wear a Richard Mille. So his watch would always be on the right time. But I don't know of any other driver that wears the watch when they're in the car. And it's funny because I'm always in pretty much always in Parc Ferme, and I'm on the fence after the race. I'll see beautiful Linda come over and she'll be looking for the trainers of the drivers, and over comes the watch, the hat, and whatever it is, and maybe a towel. And then she has to give the watch to the driver and he puts it on there and then. And I've got so many pictures of drivers putting on watches because that's how it works.
Wow. That's how their salaries are paid. How else would you able to, like, it's such a ridiculous business, right? Those cars are like 10 million each almost. And then they could just so easily crash them. They're also good for just a couple of races and then the engine burns out.
Yeah.
So it's such a ridiculous business. So they gotta somehow fund this hobby.
Everyone's selling something. Every single thing there is designed to sell something.
Yep.
Yeah, they got that's where those costumes with sponsorships were invented, right?
Yeah.
Had all the little patches.
well, that was Joe Siffert when he was racing back in the day. He was one of the first drivers to have have a sort of brand on his race overalls, because Tag Heuer were the ones that actually managed to fund Ferrari back to winning days back in the 70s. So Enzo Ferrari even said to Jack Heuer, you pay half the wages of the drivers as well. And because Tag Heuer had been commissioned to make timing equipment because Ferrari was suspicious that the timing equipment being used officially was discriminating against Ferrari. So he had contracted Jack Heuer's Heuer company to make equipment. He submitted the invoice, so he said, "I'm not paying it." And then Jack Heuer said, "Well, in return for some advertising on your car, because this was a new thing, I'll waive the fee." And Enzo cheekily said, "Well, if you're going to do that, you need to pay half the salary for our drivers because they're expensive."
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
So
drivers.
Yeah.
It's a big salary. It's a big pay, but it's so dangerous. I mean, would you do it? It's so dangerous.
Well,
now, I know that
I've done some racing myself, but
Yeah, would I do it? I would do it.
Single
Yeah?
seater and
Yeah, I would do it.
club racing. Yeah.
I watched the Ferrari movie. I didn't like it, but they had this scene where one of the drivers, like, the car crashes and the guy just gets thrown out. Boom, done. It's such a dangerous sport. So huge respect to these guys who are taking the risk.
I'm not seeing the film now. You gave it away.
You have to see it. It's worse than the crocodiles and the zebra.
Oh,
It is. Yeah.
Inside joke.
Oh, that's a joke. Okay.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
It's some inside jokes. Sorry, Kim. I showed some video of I don't know. I guess Daniel is kind of trying to be vegetarian, Are you vegetarian, Kim, by any
No,
chance? No,
no.
no, no. You eat steak.
Love steak. I love
Your
fish.
favorite food?
I, uh, I love great steaks. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
steak.
Well, it's
Uh,
Australian. You're Australian, right? You guys have
wait,
some of the best steak meat in the world.
Yeah. And
hold
the best
on
fish.
there.
Like I can go out here and
Mm.
20 minutes on my jet ski and I can catch 10, 15 kilo jewfish. I can catch
Nice.
2 per day and I can
Yeah,
bring them back in here and it's some of the best fish in the world and it's
it is.
free.
Yeah,
Nice.
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, you got to have a jet ski and or a boat and you've got to have bait
Right.
and reel. So it's really not free, but it's there.
You got to know
Yeah.
how to catch a fish. Some
Yeah.
people, this
You
new
do.
generation, some of them, they don't know it. They're gonna die because I don't know. They're not gonna. There's gonna be no YouTube videos for how to catch a fish.
Yeah, I almost caught some stilettos in an elevator, but
Yeah,
that's
you got to be
something else.
careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were getting catfish, Daniel.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Username Mickey. We got some super chats. I'm sorry, we got some super chat questions,
Go ahead,
guys. Username Mickey. Sorry, we'll take questions after the super chats. Okay. And by the way, I am unsponsored on the show, only sponsored by my viewers. Take no money from gray market dealers or authorized dealers, and so I try to be fair when it comes to wristwatches. Fully sponsored by viewers who are sending super chats. So thank you for everybody who's members and super chatters. Username Mickey has a question. Says favorite at your Kim. Kim, what's your favorite F1 driver when it comes to photographing them and how they treat you then and now? Fantastic question. Thank you, Mickey.
Look, I've worked for a few of them, and when you work for them directly, you get better shots. But at the moment, or if you take last year, Franco Colapinto was fantastic. He was excitable because he was new. He only had 9 races to prove himself, and just a joyful youngster. Would give me some funny faces. I photographed him at the track and away from the track, so I got to spend a bit of time with him. And I think this kid could be big in the sport for his ability behind the wheel and for his media prowess. I think he speaks Portuguese and English perfectly. So I like to. He would probably be the one I would say for the last half of last year was I got the best picks from. But like I know all of them obviously, and they know you because you spend, as I've done, 147 races and 4 days per race weekend. They come to know you, but none of them are rude. None of them are obnoxious. They're all nice people. Some like Lewis you don't speak to because he's important. He's going places. But some of the lowest guys, they've got time to stand around and have a chat. Not when they arrive because there's a huge throng of media capturing that. But when you get them one-on-one and it's quiet, they're all pretty cool guys. And really all they do is drive a car and they're all networking. So it doesn't make any sense for them not to be nice. I always think they're like young golf pros. They don't know who's going to be helpful to them, so they can't afford to alienate anyone.
I read in an article. I know nothing about this world, but I did read an article some years ago about this.
This world's called Earth, Daniel. Just so you know.
Thank you. All right.
That's okay.
A young woman from the Philippines who is a top racer. I don't remember the name, but from the Philippines. Have you heard of anyone?
Yeah, Bianca Bustamante.
I think that's her. Has she done okay, or?
Oh, she's not in the top rungs yet, but she's got a tremendous social media presence. And she's a bit like Lindsay Marie Brewer out of the US. Like Lindsay races in some categories and she's down the back of the field, but she has 100 to 200, 500 times more followers than any male driver because she's gorgeous looking.
She is.
She's very good on camera and she works hard at it. Whereas most of the drivers are just focusing on the driving. They're not worried about the social media. But full marks to her and for Bianca. In fact, I was in Manila late last year, and I actually contacted her and said, "Who do you recommend if I want to do a meet and greet?" And I think she put me onto this bar Bar Monza. And I said, look, I want to do a meet and greet. Can I come and do it out there? And they said, yeah. Well, they turned it into quite the production. They had about 150 people there, and it was free food and drinks for an hour, and there was interviews. Oh, it was the most amazing night from something that just started out as, look, I just want some place to come along for 20 minutes and meet some of my Manila followers.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Lindsay is great. I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, she's a great girl too. I like her for her switched onness, and she loves the camera, and
She
that's
does.
music to my ears.
Yeah.
Well, so often in Formula One and also the feeding series, it's not always necessarily the most talented drivers that get the best drive. It's the ones that have either got the sponsorship or something or other. So like you could turn around and say there's a lot of drivers in Formula One that maybe on merit shouldn't be there. And I'm not going to ask him to name anybody because I'm sure he's far too polite to say Lance Stroll. Anyway, so
we got a super chat here from Rufus, $5. Can you tell us an insider stuff you heard about Cadillac coming in? Still having internet issues. Apologize. No problem, Rufus.
Rufus was
I
on
don't
my
know.
chat as well.
Oh,
Hello,
yeah, yeah.
Rufus. He's spreading the money and the love around. Rufus, I don't know whether you wasted your $5 there, but no, I've heard nothing. Except that maybe I did. I heard that the problem was an issue with Greg Maffei from F1 and Andretti from the Cadillac bid. And both of those stepped down, I was told, and then they got the deal, and then I think Andretti's back.
yeah.
Wow.
The Formula One has its fair share of drama, both on and off the track. Is there anything in recent memory that you're particularly sore about, or as a sports person, or as a sort of an objective person?
Yeah.
Is there anything that makes your sort of top list of
Nothing. No.
nothing?
I don't. Nothing. No, I would like. Oh, okay. Well, there's one minor thing. Netflix do a big shoot at the start of the season in Bahrain, and we were always allowed to photograph it. And last year, no, you can't be anywhere near it. No photographs. But that's hardly going to affect anyone else but me.
Right. Oh dear.
Wow.
No, I was thinking about because last year there was the hoopla around Christian Horner. 2021 there was the Abu Dhabi race with Massey putting his thumb
I
on the
don't
scale.
care about any of that. I just tell people what I see. I photograph what's in front of me, and I tell people what I see. That's my gig.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I have a. By the way, Mike Lewis, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Sorry, Tim, my phone is driving me nuts today. I muted my phone. Awesome. What a gentleman, Kim Illman, to join us on the stream. Thank you so much. By the way, Kim, I don't know how much time you have left, but you can let us know.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. So, guys, if you have any final questions for Kim.
Kim, if you were say a budding YouTube personality like our fine man Tim over here, what advice would you give to someone to perhaps start producing some content?
Well, no, he just explained. Kim just explained it perfectly. He's got a team of like 3 to 4 people. He's got an editor.
Yeah, but remember, I did everything myself. I did everything myself for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
You just gotta do it.
Yeah.
The first video I did, I said to my son, "Look, I've done this video. I'm going to put this up." And he goes, "You're not putting that up. Why not? That's shocking. I spent 6 hours on that. And you're not doing it." So you got to get other people's buy-in. If I look back at those first videos, which I haven't done, I would be most embarrassed about them. But you only get good at it by doing a lot of it, and that's what you got to do. And I'll just jump in quickly here for your Jean Carter, or Jean Carter if it's French. Cartier. No, I have no idea whether that burnt or not, but I tell you, next time I see Roman, I will ask him. I do always look at his hand, and he says that in cold weather it turns purple, but otherwise in warm weather his hand is fine.
Wow.
I noticed that there's a little off topic, a lot of beautiful guitars in the back with the piano. Is there a story behind there?
Yeah, my son plays guitar, the younger one, but his good
Oh, yeah.
guitars are in Perth. He leaves a couple up here. I think one of those is a bass, if not. No, both of them
Yeah,
are bass
okay.
guitars. No, I play the piano a little bit. I'm okay. There's a drum kit there, which they're both good at.
Oh,
Both
yeah,
can
yeah,
play
yeah.
marimba. There's a marimba
Is it a
over.
xylophone as well?
That's a marimba.
The marimba.
Marimba.
Very hard doing that.
Oh.
It's that.
Right, that one. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, we like music, but my son's probably the best at it.
Yeah.
Out of the three of us.
I'd like to make a correction. I'm not a full vegetarian, Tim. I still eat meat,
Mm-hmm.
but
That you're
I feel
aiming
somewhat
to be a
more.
vegetarian someday.
I like lots of vegetables. That's all.
That's right. He does.
Kim, for anyone that's out there looking to maybe get into taking photographs of sports, is there any sort of recommendations you would make rather than spending lots and lots of money on all the fantastic kit that's out there? Is there anything you could suggest?
What
It's
to
not
get
so
better
much
at
kit,
it?
it's
It's just a matter of
dedication.
taking lots of photos. That's the
Right.
Yeah.
that's the end game with everyone. To get where I am now, I don't know. You'd have to look at what F1 wants from their accreditation page. But I would have thought if you started in the lower ranks of some motorsport and got noticed and worked your way up, as has happened with my business, if you're out there, people will find you. You don't have to find them. They will find you. And if you're reliable and good at what you do, very few people are both of those.
That's right. Good advice. Hey Kim, out of all the tracks that you visited, what are some of your favorites? Spa, Monaco?
Monaco for backdrops of photos, unbeatable. Small track, so it's easy to get around. Spa for Eau Rouge is fantastic. What else have I got here? Like this is actually my son's photo. I sent him up there. I
Right
said,
there.
you got one photo. All you
Mhm.
have to do is get all the cars in. You hold the camera steady.
Yes.
Very simple shot, but you have to go and invest 40 minutes to get it.
Right. Wow.
Certain tracks we're allowed, well, not all of us, but some of us, like me, can get above pit
Oh, that's a
stops.
great
You get a,
Right.
a down overhead shot like that. That's glorious. This one here is a beautiful shot out of Silverstone. Now this is shot. You see this dark bit up here and dark bit down
Yeah.
here. This is through a gap that big in the Armco. So the car comes about 2.5 meters from us, not at speed because it's going into the pits, so it's maybe 80, 100 k's an hour. But we get this low angle, and that's what makes that special. Because if I shoot higher, it looks nothing like that. What else is great? I like Buddha. I like. No, I'm just going through. Oh, I love this for the scenery in Vegas.
Yeah.
It's not a great
Yeah.
for a track with not much going for it. It has lovely shots like this. You can get quite close to the action. But we're not going to have Spa in 2028 and 30 because they've missed out. They're obviously juggling another race with that, so we'll get 1 year on, 1 year off. But yeah, that's a beautiful track to go to, and it's a purist track. It's not like Vegas or Miami, which is even at the worst end.
It is.
And with that said, gentlemen.
Yep.
After you, I do have to go, but I've
Yep.
just asked my
Yep.
son if he has a Telecaster, and he hasn't responded to
Yeah.
me. But he does have some nice guitars back at Perth.
Yeah.
Okay. Before you leave, one final question: How do you manage to travel to all these locations? Because being in Perth is quite difficult now.
I have a video coming out about that too, my travel planning, but it's not the cheapest place to travel from. I could save probably a house a year if I lived in Europe, going economy, 1 and 2 hour flights instead of coming from Perth. But look, this year I will come home probably through the season maybe 6 times, and the longest stint is 3 months. And my wife comes away on a few races, and we go to some nice places, and I travel with my youngest son, and then I'm home here for full on 2.5 months with the other son. So it's doable. It's expensive, but it just means I work a bit harder.
Right.
Cool.
And with that
Thank
said,
you so
I'm going
much,
to thank
Kim.
you very much and leave you all.
Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Yep.
It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having
Good
you.
luck with the new season.
Cheers, guys.
We'll be
Bye.
watching.
Cheers.